Hello and welcome to Spectrum TV News at 2. Federal government to partner with stakeholders in decongestion of custodial centers. Resident Ilse, we will Many thanks indeed for joining us. We begin this afternoon with the report that the federal government has made the disclosure during a roundtable conversation with Prisoner Rehabilitation and Welfare Action Power, as well as representatively and intellectually, to decongest the custodial centers. Aregbesola stated that correctional centers in the country are highly congested, with noting that most of the inmates currently in custody are people who committed state offenses in which the president. Meanwhile, the federal government has set up a panel to look into the alleged assault of personnel and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC). A statement signed by the Director of Public Relations (NSCDC) Abuja, Olushola Dumuso, said the Corps promised to caution its officers and men against a repeat of such incidents in the future. Let Energy PLC and its Chief Executive Officer, Roger Brown, for alleged breach of the Immigration Act of 2015. He was earlier revoked to accept employment as the CEO of the company without the statutory approval of the Controller General of Immigration or the consent to accept employment as Chief Executive Officer without approval, and after withdrawal of his 71 of the Immigration, and it's punishable by the Immigration Act of 2015. However, no date has been fixed for the general election in June, as led the West African Elders Forum, YF, and on a fact-finding mission, would be interfacing with major political leaders and other key stakeholders in the country, as a way of the general election will end today. According to the report, members of the missions are expected to hold consultations with the country's political preparedness towards conducting free, fair, and credible elections. Should benefit without giving a comprehensive breakdown in the 2016 budget. Reports say the Auditor General of the Federation in the 2016 report had raised concern in the budget, resulting in extra budgetary payment of 74 billion naira without a breakdown. According to reports, the committee observed that the Accountant General could not address the regulation. However, the Senate adopted the recommendation of the committee for the refund of 74 billion naira into the Federation account. One core members under his watch against acts that can bring the force into disrepute. Akande spoke in Oshogbo while decorating newly promoted officers with their new ranks. The AIG warned that anyone caught engaging in acts that could bring that the elevation was a challenge for them to work harder to further keep the society safe. In another development, in his congratulatory letter, Erdogan said he believes that as strategic partners, Nigeria, under Tinubu's leadership, will continue its course to a prosperous future. To Lagos now, where the State Emergency Management Agency LASEMA has revealed that there were no casualties recorded in the collapsed building at Banana Island in the Ikoyi area of Lagos State. LASEMA said efforts are ongoing to reconstruct the building to ground zero to forestall any secondary incidents. Recall that a 7-story from the rubble. Back in the States, some residents of Uyo have lamented the destruction of property, damaging Market West and transformer supplying electricity to a section of a back road, causing an interruption in power since the incidents. They therefore called on the government to come to their aid in fixing the damage.
On Sunday, we the occupants of this building couldn't stay here. because the wind was very heavy, impetuous. If there's any way the government can help us so that such occurrence will not happen again.
The wild windstorm on Sunday, it was very disastrous. It destroyed many poles in our streets. It fell down like maybe take a walk to that Ikorokubo by transformer and enter those streets by your right. You see many poles there. It affected some transformer. One pole even fell on top.
Now, where Liberia's Supreme Court has dismissed the opposition's request to halt the ongoing nationwide voter registration ahead of the October presidential and legislative elections, it was unconstitutional. However, in a unanimous verdict, the court said there was no basis for disturbing the voters' registration exercise since the National Elections Commission's NEC was not asked the electoral body to move ahead with Phase 2 of the voter registration exercise, having already conducted Phase 1 last month, which was overshadowed by a series of boats they were using capsized in a river yesterday in central Malawi. Police said the group of 22 people were crossing the river. Rescuers are expected to start a search mission for the missing persons today. Also, the authorities in the district are advising community members to avoid sailing in flooded rivers. 533 others missing. A foreign sea cyclone Ilsa is expected to hit the northern part of Port Hedland today and is predicted to be the strongest to hit the region in 14 years. Shelter. Meanwhile, Port Hedland's mayor Peter Carter said evacuation centers had been set up in the town and then retracted within 30 minutes. Further reports said sirens blared across Hokkaido, with residents being reportedly growing in the region, as North Korea has already fired 27 missiles this year. You're listening to face AC Milan in next week's UEFA Champions League return tie. Just stay with us. Welcome back and many thanks for staying with us. And now on the business front, the Indian challenges. Disclosing this in its April 2023 World Economic Outlook, the IMF said that countries that produce fossil fuels need structural adjustment to improve public finances, institutions' quality, among others. The Monetary Fund added that such countries need to take actions such as ameliorating the business environment to attract and development, as well as improving the human capital stock of the labor force by investing in education. As a result of additional 4 million barrels per day crude oil production, which has been caught by the Organization of Petroleum, Mike Osatuyi, although such cuts would result in more revenue for Nigeria, higher crude oil prices would also continue to rise as long as the country keeps importing, adding that Nigeria has not been able to meet its OPEC production quota of the Nigerian medical doctors and dentists practicing outside the country. The Diaspora Medical Association has petitioned the National Assembly over the bills. The medical bodies made this known in a statement in a letter signed by the president of the Nigerian Doctors Forum, South Africa. Dr. Emeka Ugu noted that the Medical and Dental Practitioners Act, amended, sponsored by Ganiya Johnson, which passed second reading at the House of Representatives. Meanwhile, stakeholders in the industrial pharmaceutical manufacturing sector have warned of an unprecedented subsidy removal expected to be implemented this year by the incoming government will make both over-the-counter and ethical. Pharmaceutical sector was already battling a lack of access to foreign exchange and other stifling operational challenges. Men will be available for the second leg of the UEFA Champions League quarter-final fixture against AC Milan. The 24-year-old Osimhen missed the first leg at the San Siro yesterday as a result of a muscle injury. The Patipolino fell to a 1-0 defeat to the Serie A rivals as Algeria defender Ismail Maradona Stadium. But still in leg lead. The record 14-time winners and reigning champions eased to a comfortable win against Frank Lampard's side, who had seen Ben Chilwell sent off in the second half. Despite And now in entertainment, Warner Bros. Discovery has announced that the first Harry Potter television series is set to be made, with author J.K. Rowling opting as an executive producer. According to Warner Bros. Discovery, the series will be a faithful adaptation of Rowling's mega-selling books about the boy wizard and will air on the entertainment company's rebranded United States on May 23rd. Still in entertainment, Olalekan Ponle, popularly known as Mr. Woodbury, has pleaded guilty to wire fraud. Report says Ponle agreed to forfeit $8 million in proceeds of wire fraudulently received from 7 companies. Recall that in June 10, 2020, Woodbury was arrested in Dubai for cybercrime alongside his associate Ram. That's all we have for you at this time. Many thanks for joining us. I'm Raymond Ata. Enjoy the rest of your day.